Okay, why don't we go ahead and get started in the interest of time, so as not to keep folks waiting. It's just a little bit past 1 o'clock, but you are in the monthly meeting of the Air Quality Technical Committee for PPACG. We'll get started with introductions, and what we'll do is I'll call you out as I see you on my screen. So just introduce yourself and let us know who you're with. But I'm Andy Gunning here with the Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments. And starting with Jared.
Hello, everyone. Excuse me. Jared Werner, Public Information Officer at Pikes Peak Area Council of Governments.
Thank you, sir. Dina.
Good afternoon. This is Dina Boytalk with Two Roads and Environmental here on behalf of the Pikes Peak Council of Governments.
Very good. Jessica.
Hi all, Jessica Fergo with the Planning and Policy Team at the Air Pollution Control Division.
Thank you. Tyler.
Tyler Wendland, Air Quality Program Manager, Fort Carson.
Super. Thank you, sir. Katie.
Hi, Katie Helm, Conservation and Sustainability Manager with the City of Fountain.
Very good. James.
Hello, everyone. I'm James Garrett with Montrose Environmental.
Good. Thank you for joining us. Okay, everybody just jumped around on me. Ayana.
Hi, this is Ayana Pulley-Brooks. I'm the Air Quality Program Manager at Schriever.
Very good. Thank you. Victoria.
Victoria Chavez, Transportation Planning Manager, El Paso County.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Let me see. Anybody? Yes, let's see a few more folks. Megan?
Hello, this is Megan Dunlap. I'm the Air Quality Program Manager for Peterson Space Force Base and Cheyenne Mountain Space Force Station.
Very good, thank you, Megan. Okay, have I missed anybody? Okay. Looks like that's it for now. We'll catch other people up to speed as they join in. Fairly light agenda, although I did want to spend a few minutes talking about the rulemaking topic that we do have on the agenda. Before we get to our discussion items, anything as far as public comments on items that aren't on the agenda? Anything that anybody wants to bring up? Okay, going once, going twice. We'll move on to discussion items. Wanted to put this on the agenda just for your awareness of what we submitted to EPA for our Ozone Advance program. You'll recall we joined the Ozone Advance program back in 2001. It's designed for regions like ours that are close to the federal ozone standard, but aren't in non-attainment at this point. We're very close to the limits, as we've talked about in the past, emphasizing that this year is a really, really big year for us, for our region in 2023. So keeping our fingers crossed that we keep our emissions down and we don't have a terribly horrible wildfire season, and that we've got a good monsoon weather flow this year, because we really need a good summer this year to stay on the right side of the line with the EPA standards. But anyways, we turned in our annual update back, I guess it was earlier, beginning of this month in March. And maybe, Jared, if we scroll down a little bit, I think we've got a couple of pages that just identify the projects. Yeah, apologize for the small print, but you should have this in the packet as well. So it's this page and the next page, where based on feedback that we got from our partners across the region, these were the projects we reported back. A few of them were already in the Ozone Advance plan that we had to provide some updates on, but then others are kind of new initiatives that we wanted to put in front of EPA and let them know that these are things we're working on as well. And I'll just highlight a couple of them just so you're aware. But again, you've got this as well in your material. But we put a great emphasis on emphasizing outreach and building awareness, especially around travel reduction options across the region. I don't think we have Jacob from MMT on today, but I know we're getting together, we're coordinating with MMT and with the Chamber of Commerce and with the city and others to really get the word out to our major employers across the region about all the different travel options that are available across the Pikes Peak region, whether it's transit options or creating van pools or carpools or sticking with work from home options for those entities where it makes sense. So really glad to have the Chamber EDC's involvement in that endeavor. And if anybody wants to be part of that as well, we've got really good representation today from our military partners. But if anybody wants to be roped into that conversation, I know we've got a meeting set up next week that Jared and Laura Cruz in our office, our mobility coordinator, are pulling together. But feel free to let me know. Let us know if you want to be dialed into that. But really getting together, practitioners that can really get the word out to our major employers and communications marketing folks that can help us craft really good messages that we can push out to the community. So that's one thing we really emphasized in the ozone advance reporting that we sent back. Another new one that we really haven't had involved in the past in our ozone advance reporting is wildfire mitigation. There's a lot of good work that's happening there between money that the cities set aside for doing wildfire mitigation within the WUI area, and additional initiatives that we're involved with at PPACG, where we're trying to drive down wildfire threats around our military installations. So just really wanted to put that on EPA's radar as well, because that's a big contributor. And the last one I'll mention for now, I should have mentioned this under the travel reduction stuff, but there's a bill that's working its way through the state legislature this year that expands the zero fare transit service, basically carries it on for a second season of this year. The money was allocated in a bill that was passed last year, but the new bill this year create some additional flexibility around that program. So hoping that MMT can take advantage of that. I know they're pretty excited about putting that to good use this summer, June, July, and August, and building some awareness around those travel options. So that's what we reported back on the ozone advance items. Any questions or anything that you wanted to emphasize that you're working on behalf of your agency? Anything we're missing that we think we really need to emphasize? Give it some thought and feel free to weigh in. There's a lot of other stuff that I included as well from our military partners and from all of our jurisdictions and from CSU. So yeah, feel free to peruse that. And if other good ideas are coming to mind, feel free to let us know. Okay. Alrighty, you guys are a quiet bunch today. Let's there's no questions there. Why don't we move on to the next topic, which is a rulemaking initiative that's in front of the State Air Quality Control Commission coming up in April. And actually, I think the deadline for written comments is next week on Tuesday, April the 4th. And I've pushed out a couple of messages on this. I mean, obviously the Air Quality Committee's been apprised of it, and we sent out the full rule to you guys, and also sent out a separate message to our city, town, and county managers across the region and some other stakeholders to let them know if they have any comments on the draft rule to let us know by the end of the week this week. Close of business on Friday, so we can put those comments together and maybe submit those all in one package to the state next week in time for the deadline. But I'll try to walk through just what I know about it, but others feel free to chime in that know more about this than I do. But the intent is to reduce emissions and NOx specifically in medium and large trucks in our fleets across the state. So it impacts our region as well. Hang on just 1 second as I get to the right spot here. But as I understand it, kind of three main components are part of this. First of all, it really addresses the sale of new on-road heavy-duty trucks and engines that need to be compliant with California emissions requirements starting in 2026. I want to say it is for 2027 model. So basically adopting California standards for large vehicles that are going to be sold here in Colorado. And actually, Jared, if you've got the graphic, maybe it's on the next page that shows what are the vehicles, that we're talking about here. This is super helpful. So a good fact sheet that CDPHE put out really identifies what are the vehicles that are part of that rulemaking and which ones are not part of what we're talking about. So you can see the vehicles in the top part of that chart that are part of the rulemaking. So yeah, we can hang on this page for a second, but yeah, so the three main parts. That was the first one that really adopts California's cleaner standards, if you will, for medium and heavy duty vehicles. Second part is that it requires dealers to have a percentage of zero emissions vehicles in their fleet available for sale in by January of 2026 for 2027 models. You're going to see a lot of those starting to show up on dealers' lots for sale here fairly soon, if this goes forward. And then the third part is creating a reporting requirement beginning of this year, December of this year, for owners and operators of fleets. And that includes the federal government, state government, local government, and other private entities as well. And we're talking about vehicles with a gross vehicle weight of 8,500 or greater. So it applies to private sector operators as well, who have at least 50 such vehicles in their fleet, or any private operator with annual sales within their business of 50 million or more with at least one of these vehicles as of 2022. And I'm not going to go through this in great detail, but I would really emphasize, especially for some of the larger entities that may have a larger fleet, to really go through the reporting requirements and make sure that you've got a good handle on that within your jurisdiction or within your agency. It's going to require some pretty detailed stuff that you've got to pull together on an annual basis on usage and mileage, and if it's got all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, towing requirements. I mean, things like that. That are going to really need to be part of the reporting starting the end of this year. And I think that's going to be used as a gauge for, what's the viability of phasing out existing vehicles and moving to a cleaner fleet down the road. So I'll open it up for others, but not to put folks on the spot from the state or elsewhere, but did I kind of capture that correctly? For those that may know this a little bit better than I do, or others that have read through the draft rules, does that sound accurate?
Hi, this is Jessica with the Air Pollution Control Division. I think you gave a good summary of it.
Okay, all right, thanks, Jessica. So thoughts, concerns, have folks dug into it yet? You think you're good with it and you can comply, or do you have concerns about any of it, whether it's the fleet transition aspects of it or the reporting aspects of it? And if you're still kind of taking all this in and need to read through it, that's fine too. Because like I said, looking for any and all comments that folks may have by the end of this week, and we'll bundle it all together and send it up to the state next week. And I should mention this as well. I think in one of the messages I sent out to the city town managers is we can do this without attribution, if you will. It can just come from PPACG, but if you've got concerns that you just don't want to put your agency's name to or whatever, that's fine. You can share your thoughts and suggestions with me, and we'll put it together. I've got a meeting with our legislative committee, subset of our PPACG board Monday morning, and I'll get them up to speed with what we're hearing back from our local communities at that point, if we've heard anything back. Okay.
So Andy, can I just add into that?
Sure.
I did see an alternative proposal that had been put forth by the Environmental Justice Coalition that actually changes that one-time reporting to an annual reporting status, and then it lowers the threshold for the number of fleet vehicles that you have from 50 down to 5. And so there's a potential that's being put forth, so the commission would decide, the scope of what they end up adopting. But I just want to alert everybody that there is that alternative out there.
Okay, thanks for that, Dina. And I guess, and that's my bad. I assumed that on the reporting side, I thought that was an annual requirement, but I may have just kind of glossed over that and didn't sink in with me. But yeah, if it goes beyond just a one-time thing, if it's an annual snapshot, that could have much more of an impact, of course. Okay. Yeah, and for the local, as I've read through this, it sounds like for local jurisdictions, and even the military, there's a carve out for military tactical vehicles, but federal agencies like military installations, I think, would need to comply with that as well. And there's no floor. It's basically if you have one or more vehicles, then you need to do the reporting requirement, whether that's annual or just a one-time shot. Okay. Alrighty. Don't everybody try to get unmuted at the same time. Any other thoughts around this? Just still trying to take it in? Or does anybody anticipate maybe sending some comments back, but just haven't had a chance to kind of work through them quite yet? Okay, very good. Okay, if there's nothing else we need to do as far as the rulemaking stuff, let's move on to just other topics that folks may have. Any other items for consideration, either today or at future meetings?
Hi, Andy, it's Victoria.
Hey there.
Hey, so I know that we had sent you a list of some actions that we've been taking here at El Paso County, and I know you've been compiling them from others as well. Is there a place on the website where that's all listed? Are we going to do a nifty little report? Because quite honestly, there might be some things that other people are doing that we haven't thought about. So I'd love to have a complete list of what everybody is doing.
Oh, that's a great idea. Super. Let me chat with Jared and some of our other folks on the team here and see what we can do to build out a website. I think that's a really, really great idea. I mean, especially since I mentioned we're trying to do more public awareness around, what's available as far as different options out there. If folks want to, look at different travel options or find different ways to mow their lawn with cleaner fuel options or adopt like an idle reduction policy. I know the county has something in place. I think having all of that stuff in one spot's a really, really good idea. So I'll chat with Jared and the others behind the curtain, and we'll see what we can launch for the summer. Good stuff.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, no, thank you. Good suggestion. Good. Okay, so we may have set a record for our quickest air quality meeting ever, perhaps. Anything else we need to chat about? Any other suggestions?
So Andy, this is Judith.
Hey, Judith.
I got on late, so are you through the agenda?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
We kind of covered everything. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was at a meeting yesterday with Samantha. She was talking to all the people doing community gardens, and she went over all the things that smart cities are doing. And she mentioned that all of the new air quality monitors are in place downtown or wherever, because there's one for each district. And they made it sound like they're already operational. Where will we see that data?
Oh, I don't know. And I wonder if that's something that as we build out our portion of our site that identifies the different strategies that are taking place across the region, we can certainly link to what Samantha's doing. I knew they were coming soon. She briefed our group, a couple of months ago. And let me get her back next month to update us on how that's going and where we can get access to their data. My understanding was going to be sort of kind of real-time stuff that was being collected and reported back out. So that's good to know. I knew it was coming soon, but didn't know it was launched already.
So, and also I'm wondering how many EV stations you have over at PPACG, in case I get an electric car, which is doubtful, but.
Easy answer. So far, we have 0, but I've got my eye on hopefully going after a grant. I can't promise it's going to be here in the next couple of months, but soon to get one in place in our main parking lot behind our building. There's a lot of opportunities between state funding, federal funding. So stay tuned.
Well, then I would like to make a suggestion, and I think there is grant funding for this, that you consider getting some solar panels to put, not across the whole parking lot, but in a portion of the parking lot that would both charge the EV chargers and provide shade for employees or visitors or something there, sort of double whammy that I see quite frequently every time I go to visit my daughter and her family in California. The hospitals, the schools, the government agencies all seem to be doing that sort of double purpose with solar panels, shade and energy. So.
Sure. You were reading my mind. I didn't want to overpromise, but we're going to be digging into that as well, for sure.
Okay.
Good stuff.
Great. Thank you.
Good. Thank you, Judith. Appreciate it. Very good. So anything else we need to cover? Anything else you want to bring up? Otherwise, it's class will be dismissed here a little bit early.
Well, I do feel like I need to say disappointment as a League of Women Voters member who's gone through almost all the candidate surveys. I didn't see any questions at all about our climate emergency or about air quality. It's kind of disturbing, the level of disinterest. But anyway, that's what it is. So just an observation.
Sure.
So,
good to know.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well, very good. See if there's nothing else, we'll let everybody leave here a little bit early, and we'll see you next month. I think our next meeting would be Wednesday, April the 26th. So we will see you then. But please be in touch if you have any other suggestions, anything else going on that we should know about. Okay, thank you all. Sure.